Hi, I'm Roy Bowling. Welcome to my series of training videos entitled Wire Running, As Easy as That. This series is designed to ensure your company's productivity, professionalism, and thus profitability. So settle back and let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about insulated walls and the proper methods and tools in which to fish them. First of all, we have built a mock-up model with clear plexiglass front on it, so you'll be able to see what actually goes on as we fish each individual situation. First, we start with an empty wall. On over to the stapled on bat where it staples on the edge where you have the little voids for running wire. Onto the moisture barrier which staples on the front of the stud, which lays out flat against the drywall on the inside, so it makes it a very dense wall. Over to the blown-in cellulose, which they'll tell you can't fish, which you'll see how today. On to last but not least, good old styrofoam. Now this is not found in too many residences, but we will see how to do it. Now we're going back, let's go back and take each one of the situations individually, and we'll isolate it and show you not only the proper method of fishing, but the tools in which to do so. Now that we've isolated our open wall, and we've already pre-drilled our top hole, and we've dropped our ball chain. Now in this particular case, what is our ball chain? Let's show you what it's about. It's an easy method to fish wire. Along with it is a quite flexible handle that has a magnet on it to reach out and grab the ball chain to retrieve it out of the wall. And the ball chain has, on one end, has an eyelet for pulling the wire back, and on the other end has a big ring to keep it from dropping down in a hole. Otherwise you'd lose it, because the stuff really slithers and they're heavy duty. Okay, with that now, let's go in here and due to the fact we've got our ball chain in, we're going to be dealing with a slab floor in this instance, so let's pull our molding. So we'll pull our molding and drop it. You'll see our ball chain sitting in a little ball down there. And we've pre-drilled our hole here so you don't have to bore you with that situation, okay? Now, we bend our configuration in our retriever such as this, so we can get it in the wall. Okay, so now we feed it in the wall, and there it is. And now all we have to do is flip it and roll it, okay? And it'll find, its job is to find the ball chain and bring it to the hole, not through the hole. Now, we'll be utilizing this little guy. He's got a little tiny hook on him, so we can get down in there, or you can utilize your old buddy, the coat hanger you've used for years. And I look in the hole, I see my ball chain, I grab it and pull it out. Now, why won't ball chain come straight out with the retriever? Well, we got this little thing called drywall, don't we? And when you drill a hole, the drywall paper goes in. And when you try to pull it back out, it closes up on it because the back paper tears, and of course it doesn't drill out clean. Therefore, you have to use the little retriever to bring it in. Now, the nice part about this one's with you all the time. Okay, now, that's if we're dropping the ball chain down from the top. Okay, now what happens if we take the ball chain and bring it in from the down in the center of the wall? Okay, how do you go about doing that? Have you ever tried to stuff ball chain straight in a wall in this way? You can't do it, can you? And that's why it got called its name, wet noodle. Okay, because you can't push it straight in. So how do you start it? Well, anybody recognize what this is? If you said a soda straw, you're correct. And that's how you start ball chain in a wall. Okay, now you have to wash the sticky out first, assuming you've used it, and you drop the ball chain down into the straw itself, okay? Now you've got it sticking out the other end here. We put it up, we stick it in the hole, okay? Now, all we do, we guide it where we want it, then we lift up, that's all we have to do, and away goes your ball chain. the weight of the ball chain will lift it and drop it down in the hole. And then of course now we go in just like we did before and pull it out and flip it, and it'll find it and pull it out. And there you go, as simple and easy as that. Now let's say in another instance now we had a crawl space underneath. Now so far we've got a concrete slab, and we've done one here from the wall down in the middle of the wall. But then what happens when we have a crawl space or an unfinished basement? Okay, at this point in time then we would drill up into the bottom plate. Okay, then we would take our retriever at this time and straighten it up somewhat, and then give it a tiny turf like so, and stick it up in the hole, and then just flip it around. It finds the ball chain and pull it on down. Fishing empty walls is as easy as that. Now that we've isolated our bat insulation wall, where we have our little voids, in order to run this wire now, we're going to go clear through from ceiling down through the crawl space. Now let's take a cutaway view. We have a drawing here to better show how this is done. Okay, this being your drywall on the inside, and you'll see this lines right here are your bat where it's stapled onto the sides. Now this gives you right beside the stud on either side, here or back here, this gives you the little void where you can run ball chain. Okay, now here we'll be using the same ball chain as before. But how do we locate where in the world to drill this thing? Because you have a top plate and you can't see where the nails are. Okay, here first of all we're going to need a stud sensor. Now a stud sensor is a densiometer which physically outlines each side of the stud itself. Now all we care about is the edge of the stud, because that is where our little void is. Okay, and the next thing we're going to need is a .047 diameter music wire, spring wire, piano wire, whatever you want to call it. It's right here. Then when you cut it at an angle. Okay, and you drill up. You find the edge of the stud and drill right at the ceiling, where the ceiling intersects with the wall by the edge of the stud. You drill into the attic. This comes up at your plate level, and then you measure in, as you see here, because you have 1/2 inch drywall, 3/4 of an inch, and drill a hole down. Now when you do that, that puts you right in this void. Okay, so that's the various tools we'll need for that one. Now let's go ahead and let's run our ball chain. Now that we've seen our diagram, let's go to the real world. And the wall as you would see it. As we mentioned, the stud sensor is a densiometer. Now let's go out here on the drywall as you would do. So you go out and you set it up, you go across till the lights go up, which is right there. Now if we'll look straight above this, we should have our 047 fish wire up there. It's already drilled through the ceiling. Okay, now, because we have 1/2 inch drywall, we measure in 3/4 of an inch and then drill down. Okay, now that puts us right in this cavity. Okay, now we've already pre-drilled the holes so you don't have to go through the drilling process. Okay, so now we're going to have our man in the attic run the ball chain down. So run her down, attic man, and here it comes. As you can see it come down, all the way down through. Here it comes. Okay, now it's sitting piling on the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to pull the molding so you can see where it's at, right here on the bottom. Okay, now the man in the crawl space now will put the retriever up and grab it and pull the ball chain down, as you're seeing right here. Okay, you see you had a hold of it, and down it went. Okay, there it goes. All right, now he'll tie the wire on, and we'll take it on back to the attic. So you can see how that ball chain runs down in that little cavity real easy. Okay? So he'll be ready to take it back up in just a moment. Okay, and here comes the wire. All right, as he takes it right on through. Okay, and here it goes. And right on he goes to the attic, because you can see it taking off and running back up through. Okay? And there it is, and it's run. Okay? Now he takes it on to his final destination, whatever. Okay, for running wire, as you can see, to go all the way through and how to do it, it's as easy as that. Now that we've run our wire all the way from attic clear through to crawl space or unfinished basement, whichever the case may have been, now what happens when we have to go in the face of the wall and then we have to come out at the baseline, which is a slab floor. Now in the face of the wall here you can be running could be a passive infrared, could be a telephone, could be a speaker, could be cable run, whatever. Okay, so now we've already pre-drilled our holes to save you that headache. So let's go on down now and we'll start with our soda straw again. We'll go in the face of the wall and down we go. Lift up on the ball chain and let her fly. And here it goes down to the bottom. Okay, I already know I'm on the bottom, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to leave that ball chain. Let's pull our base so we can see what we've got. And there you can see it. Okay, now we got two choices. We can go ahead and take our retriever and go down through the hole to get it, and or we can use our little hook, and we may use a combination of both. Okay, there it is. There's my hook. So there we go. We pull our wire out, or our ball chain out. Put our little retriever back. Okay, now we'll go ahead and tie our wire on and take it back up. Okay, and here we go. Okay. And there's our wire run. There it is. And it's as easy as that. Now we've isolated our moisture barrier. Okay, now we're going to have a little bit different tools. Tools we're going to be using in this one, of course, a stud sensor, as we know, we've talked about before, being a densiometer. Now we got a little different tool. A green rod with a large bull nose on it. Now inside of this bull nose is a magnet. And what responds to a magnet? A compass, okay? Now in this particular case, our compass has a red, a white, and a black needle on it, okay? Now, as you can see, it responds to this head. So this is what we're going to be dealing with in the wall in this case, and we have the ball chain on so we can pull it out, because only an idiot would think he could pull a ball chain out through a 1/4 inch, or this big metal tip out through a 1/4 inch hole. All right, with that, let's get started. We take our stud sensor, and we would come over to find the studs in either case. Okay, so we stay pretty much in the center. So here would be our center. All right, now we've already pre-drilled our hole, which is right here. Now to pre-drill, and when I do the drilling of the holes in drywall, and especially with this one, I usually use a little screwdriver. Now I'll put my thumb to approximately there, and then I come up to it giving it this number, and as you can see on the back, I just barely come through. Okay, now, and I can tilt it any direction I want, and that's so I can run down through. The point is, do not poke that visqueen, because right now it becomes your best friend. Okay, now let's go ahead now and run our wire down in there and run our green rod. So now we go up, set this guy in. Now, as you can see, we're staying ahead of the moisture barrier, and it's out in front of it. Okay, now down we go. All right, now, and I'm on the bottom, let's pull our base now. Well, first of all, let's find it, because we don't know where this is at, because it's behind this wall. It's concealed. It's not open like you see here. So now let's put this guy up to the wall, and here we go. See if I can get it so you can see it. And here we come across the wall, whoa, went too far, whoa. See it, point back at it, okay? Now, is that really it, or is that a nail or a pipe? So I lift it up, and the white hand comes around and says, no, that's really it, because nails and pipes don't have south poles. So you drop it back down, and the red hand turns around, and you take it now till you line them up, and you'll be looking straight at the bottom. Okay, to show you, we'll pull it back, we'll drop the molding, and we'll come right back up on that molding, and you can see right where you're at. And there it's lined up perfectly, okay? So now, we've already pre-drilled a hole in this one. So now I'll take our little retriever and go in to get our ball chain. So I look in the hole, and there he is. And I missed him. There's our ball chain. I go ahead and pull it out. Okay. And then I go ahead and tie my wire on and pull it back up. Okay? And there it is, as easy as that. Now that we've opened up the cavity on blown-in cellulose insulation, which everybody says is so difficult, and it is if you don't have the proper tools and know how. But here we have a drawing. Basically what we're trying to show here is this cavity is this stud wall, okay, and our plate right down here at the bottom. Now our floor joist, of course, being under the floor and the floor joist under here. Now the floor joist can be anywhere from 2x8s to 2x12s. In this particular case, we're looking at the shorter ones, the 2x8s. Okay, now, as we go, the point we're looking at is this hole. Now, if you use a right angle drill and get under here, you can drill up and drill at this angle. Now, where is that? We don't know. So therefore, we come back to the 047 music wire as we did back on your bat insulation. Okay, where we come right at the drywall, which is your blue line here, and take your drywall and drill it down. That will drill through this floor, okay, and behind the baseboard. And that will tell you where you're at here on your edge. So you know where to move over so you don't come barreling out through your drywall as you put your slight angle. Okay, now, if you don't have a right angle drill, however, you could use your bell hanger type bit and your directional tool. And then when you come back in here, you run it right up here at this level where your angle is, so you can go ahead and drill your hole through. Okay, so that's another way to get your hole through if you don't have a right angle drill. All right, now once the hole is drilled, the tool we'll be using here again is the same tool we just got through with. The magnetic bullnose head with the short piece of ball chain on it, and of course the compass to find the magnetic head. Okay, now we've got a guy down in the crawl space here to show you we've already drilled this hole up. Okay, so we're going to have him push it on up. Go ahead, Mr. Crawl Space Ben, shove it up to me. Now when he comes up through here, he'll be using a jabbing motion, as you can see here. Here it comes. A jabbing motion, and it's following, the point is, it's following the inside of the wall. Now, hold it. What I forgot to show you here was where he was going to stop, which he's hit the stop point. You know approximately where you want to be. So what you do is take a pencil and mark your unit, which we just did on that one. Okay, it was already marked. So we're coming to a height of where we wanted to be, or approximate height. Okay, this is riding the inside of the drywall, which we want it to do. Now, so it'll go through. Now we know that we're what approximate height we are. So I come in here, I come across the wall, nothing. Then I move back, nothing. I move over, nothing. I move over, whoop, whoa, something there. Now I move up, there went the red hand around. So I know I'm in the vicinity. I drop back, the white hand moved around. So I know I'm right there, okay? So I'm right in this area. So I go ahead and pop my hole, and then go ahead and pull my ball chain out, and then pull a pull wire back through. Okay, that's one method of fishing this. Now let's go on to the second method. Okay, now our second method, we're going to be going in through the face of the wall, okay? And we'll be coming out at the base where it's slab floor, okay? Which makes it a little more difficult. Now, in this instance, we're going to be utilizing, we're going to have to use our stud sensor again, the densiometer. And we're going to have to find the edge of those studs because this is a key point. Doesn't make any difference where our hole is. However, we need to know where our stud is down here because that's where we'll be each time. Now, the tool we'll be using here is the bull nose with a ball chain on it, on the green rods, and the addition of a new tool. And this little guy has hooks that face each other, okay? A small hook and a big hook, so you always know where that hook is. All right, so now by utilizing them, let's go ahead and run our wire. Now we've got a hole we've already drilled here. So I'm going to push it to the one side, okay? I pushed out so I could hit the stud wall because I need that smooth stud wall and the back to come on down in our sheathing, okay? So here we go. And there we went. And I hit it using a jabbing motion. Down I went, okay? Now, what has happened is this stud wall, I'm against it, I'm against the sheathing in the back. So obviously, I would be right in the back corner behind here. So now, let's drop our molding. And we got a pre-drilled hole here, okay? Now I take this guy and I go in. Now, I've already found in order to drill my hole, I had to find the edge of that stud, which is right behind where the lights are here. So I drill my hole at the edge of the stud, I go on in. All right, now, I reach it, and I get my ball chain, and there she is. All right, I've hooked my ball chain, and I go ahead and I pull it out. All right? Now, I want to go to the other side using this hole, way over here on the opposite side. So the same thing follows true. So I'll go ahead and pull this guy back out. And I will need a pull wire to go back in, a single pull wire, okay? So now let's send it in here. Now, notice that I'm at quite an angle, so I go over and hit this stud. I'm trying to hit this back and go over to hit that stud, so I'm riding on the sheathing, and there I hit it, okay, and down she goes, okay. All right, now I'm at the bottom, okay. And again, I take my stud sensor and I come in to find out where I'm at. Okay, now, I'm at the edge of the stud, I've already got my hole here. I go in, now, I feel exactly where I am. I pull, and I have my hook turned to the corner, and there's my ball chain. Okay, now I take my pull wire, and again I use a single wire on it, like I've done before. Then I pull, I put it through the eyelet that's on this chain. Okay, wrap it around so it don't come off. Now here, I don't want to pull, take a chance on breaking my ball chain. So here we go now. And we pull this guy on up. And there he is, and out he comes, okay? Now we go ahead and tie our regular wire on and pull him back down through. And cellulose insulation is as easy as that. Last but not least, we have the styrofoam. Styrofoam is the most dense of all the insulations. That's because of the closed cells. Now, in fishing it, you cannot use the green rod to push because it pushes the head of it, building up ahead of the green rod till it hits a top and it compresses and you can't get through it, okay? You can't run a drill bit through it because the bit gets hot and it melts to it. And unfortunately, you can't go either direction, and you end up cutting a bit, leaving it in the wall. So to further illustrate what we're talking about and how to fish this stuff, you have to use a jabbing motion, okay? Now, this particular styrofoam cup, we give it a push, and you notice if we just push, that's where you get your build-up ahead. All right, and it collapses the cup. However, if we use a jabbing motion, it doesn't even deform the cup when we hit it. And to further illustrate it again, it doesn't even deform the cup. Okay, now, reason for the styrofoam cup, that's exactly the foam that we're talking about here in the wall. Okay, so the tool we'll be using today will be a smaller diameter rod because it has much more flexibility, number one. Number two, it's smaller in diameter. Here you have to have a strong pull line on. And here I'm going to recommend a heavy nylon because this stuff is real tough to do. Let's go ahead now and fish this down on a wall. We started in, use short jabbing motion. Now, as we go down, there we are. Now, you'll notice we're at an angle. what we're doing is using our 2x4 stud as a reference point. Okay, so we come out, we hit the stud, and then it went on and veered to the back edge of the stud. So where this guy will be resting will be at the back end of the stud where your sheathing comes out. Okay, now as we go on down, and it will be follow the stud clear down. Now let's remove our molding. We've already pre-drilled our hole. Now one advantage of styrofoam is that you can clean your hole out, and you pull it out using, we're going to be using this little hooky job with the hooks that face each other, okay? And you can go in and clean your insulation out. So I can see back in there, and yes it is, right at the corner, and I can see it. So now I go in and I grab it. Okay, and there's our pull wire. And I go ahead and pull it on out. Then I go ahead and tie my wire on. Here we're going to be using a 4 conductor. Okay, and to pull it on back up. And of course we tie this guy on. And you want him tied on pretty good, okay? So now let's go ahead and pull. Got a pretty good pull because of its tight denseness of the insulation. You can even hear it squeaking as we go. Okay, and there we are. And that's the way you fish residential styrofoam, which is one of the toughest of the insulations. Now in commercial styrofoam, it's very much like the residential, and they would all look the same basically if you're looking in on them. The difference now is they're on a pre-stressed building, usually pre-stressed concrete, and now you have 2x2 furring strips normally rather than 2x4 studs as you have in a residence. Okay, now the basic difference being in a commercial, normally speaking, there's no bottom or top plate, so you don't have to fight it. Okay, so now again we'll use the same tool, except this time instead of going down, we're going to go across, because again you want to use your furring strips as reference points, okay? So you know where you're at. So you go in there and you start up, short jabbing motions, and there we hit. And we hit our top plate, okay, in this case. Now, if you were in commercial, it'd probably pop right on out through. Now, it's a good idea to run it back and forth a couple of times, especially if you're pulling a good sized wire through. And you want to hook on a heavy nylon and tie it on good, because it's going to be a tough pull pulling it back through. So basically speaking, no matter which way you go, and you go ahead and pull your wire back, no matter which way you go, up, down, utilizing these guys as reference points, you're in good shape, and that is styrofoam insulation. In conclusion of insulated walls, you'll notice now we've opened them all back up so we can see them where we started. Okay, on your empty wall, of course that wasn't a big trick. Started getting somewhat tricky, and we had to have some specialized tools on your stapled on back, because at the top, both at the top and the bottom, here you needed special tools, which being your right angle drill, so you could get in to drill down. Okay, onto your moisture barrier. This one's pretty much self-explanatory. Of course there, the key was do not poke the visqueen, keeping your fishing device between the visqueen and your drywall so you can come down in, okay? Now, on this guy that everybody says you can't fish, as you can see, he wasn't that difficult. He, as long as two things happen. Number one, you keep your studs as reference points. When you're going in the face of the wall, you get to that back and outside as quickly as you can to go up or down. In this case, we went down and came out at your bottom. Then, of course, coming up from the bottom using the right angle drill comes to the face of it, and you can go clear on up. This is where you have the room and are allowed that. On to our old buddy styrofoam. Styrofoam's the toughest of all of them, as you saw there, but you saw how to fish both residential and the commercial ways, and it still will remain to be your toughest one. Okay, so now that you guys have learned how to fish insulated walls, I'm going fishing. So long.